In the infinite blackness of space, a lone traveler drifts farther from home than any human creation has ever ventured. Launched in 1977, this spacecraft, a marvel of engineering from a time when disco ruled the airwaves and bell-bottoms were the height of fashion, has journeyed beyond the planets, past the heliopause, and into the uncharted wilderness of interstellar space. For nearly half a century, it has whispered back to Earth, sending faint signals across billions of miles, each one a testament to human ingenuity and our insatiable curiosity about the cosmos. But in late 2023, something unthinkable happened. The whispers turned to gibberish. The steady stream of data, once a reliable lifeline, became a chaotic jumble of nonsensical code. Scientists were stunned. The world held its breath. Was this the end of a historic mission? Or was something far more profound at play? What if the garbled signal wasn't a malfunction at all, but a message, a hidden, mysterious message from the edge of the universe? After months of relentless effort, a breakthrough shocked the scientific community. The signal has been decoded, and what they found defies belief. This is the story of a cosmic puzzle, a tale of human perseverance, and a revelation that could change how we see our place in the universe forever. Picture this: a spacecraft, now over 15 billion miles from Earth, so distant that light itself takes 22.5 hours to travel from its antenna to our planet. That's nearly a full day for a single message to reach us. This isn't just a machine. It's a time capsule, carrying instruments built with technology older than most people watching this. Its power supply, a decaying radioisotope generator, is fading, forcing engineers to make heartbreaking decisions about which systems to shut down. Yet despite its age, despite the cosmic radiation battering its circuits, this spacecraft has never stopped sending signals. It's a survivor, a pioneer, humanity's farthest emissary in the vastness of space. In 2012, it crossed into interstellar space, becoming the first human-made object to leave the protective bubble of our sun's influence. Every byte of data it sends back is a treasure, offering glimpses of a realm no telescope can fully capture. Cosmic rays, magnetic fields, the interstellar medium, it's been our eyes and ears in a place we may never physically reach. But in November 2023, the unthinkable happened. The data stream turned to nonsense. No longer were we receiving neatly packaged science and engineering updates. Instead, it was a flood of garbled, unreadable noise. Imagine the panic in mission control. Decades of connection, suddenly severed by a wall of digital chaos. Was the spacecraft dying? Had cosmic forces finally claimed it? Or was something else at work? Something no one could have predicted? The team tasked with maintaining this mission is a group of unsung heroes, engineers and scientists who've dedicated their lives to keeping this ancient spacecraft alive. They work in a world of delayed communications, where every command sent takes 2 days to yield a response. Patience isn't just a virtue here, it's a necessity. When the signal turned to gibberish, they didn't give up. They couldn't. This wasn't just about saving a machine. It was about preserving a legacy, a piece of humanity's soul drifting among the stars. They began troubleshooting, poring over decades-old schematics, consulting manuals written before some of them were born. The problem, they suspected, lay in one of the spacecraft's 3 onboard computers, the Flight Data Subsystem, or FDS. This system is the spacecraft's librarian, meticulously packaging science and engineering data before beaming it back to Earth. If the FDS was malfunctioning, it explained the garbled signals. But why? And how do you fix a computer 15 billion miles away, one that was designed in an era when floppy disks were cutting edge? The first clue came in March 2024, when the team sent a desperate command, a digital poke, to prod the spacecraft into revealing more about its condition. They waited, hearts pounding, for the response. 2 days later, it arrived. Not the clean data they hoped for, but something different, something intriguing. Amid the noise, one section of the signal stood out. It wasn't in the usual format, but it wasn't entirely random either. An engineer at the Deep Space Network, the global array of radio antennas that communicates with distant spacecraft, took on the Herculean task of decoding this anomaly. Days of analysis followed, with teams working around the clock. On March 10th, they cracked it. The signal wasn't just noise, it was a complete readout of the FDS memory. Every instruction, every variable, every piece of science and engineering data was there, like a snapshot of the spacecraft's mind. The team was ecstatic, but the mystery deepened. The readout revealed something shocking. The FDS memory was corrupted. Somewhere in its ancient circuits, a bit had flipped, a single error cascading into chaos. But how? Cosmic rays, a hardware failure, or something else entirely? This discovery was a turning point, but it was only the beginning. The team now had a map of the problem, but fixing it was like performing brain surgery from another galaxy. They compared the corrupted readout to earlier data, searching for discrepancies. Every difference was a clue, a breadcrumb leading them closer to the truth. Weeks turned into months as they crafted a plan. The spacecraft's age made every decision fraught with risk. A wrong command could silence it forever. Yet they pressed on, driven by a mix of duty and awe. This wasn't just about science, it was about connection. That spacecraft, so far away, was a piece of us, a symbol of what we can achieve when we dare to reach beyond our grasp. By April 2024, their efforts bore fruit. A carefully crafted set of commands was sent, bypassing the corrupted memory and restoring the FDS to partial function. The gibberish stopped. Clear data flowed again. The world celebrated, but whispers began to circulate. What if the corruption wasn't random? What if the signal held something more? A message hidden in the chaos, waiting to be found. This is where the story takes a turn into the unknown, a realm where science meets speculation, where the impossible feels tantalizingly close. The decoded signal, once thought to be mere noise, began to reveal patterns. Not just random errors, but sequences that defied statistical probability. Teams of cryptographers and data scientists were brought in, their expertise usually reserved for military codes or extraterrestrial searches. They found something astonishing. Embedded in the FDS memory, amid the corrupted bits, were structures that resembled a code. Not human, not machine, but something else. It was faint, almost imperceptible, like a whisper in a storm. But it was there. The patterns suggested intent, as if the spacecraft had intercepted something or been altered by an external force. The implications were staggering. Was this a natural phenomenon, a quirk of cosmic radiation? Or had the spacecraft, drifting in the void, encountered something intelligent, something that left a mark? Let's pause to consider the weight of this possibility. For decades, humanity has searched for signs of life beyond Earth. Radio telescopes scan the skies, listening for signals that might betray an alien civilization. The spacecraft carries a golden record, a message in a bottle for any intelligent beings who might find it, etched with music, greetings, and images of our world. Could it be that after all this time, the answer came not from a distant star, but from our own emissary? The idea is almost too much to comprehend. Yet, the data demanded scrutiny. The patterns weren't random noise. They followed rules, like a language or a signal, compressed into the spacecraft's aging circuits. Scientists began to wonder, had the spacecraft's journey through interstellar space exposed it to something extraordinary? The interstellar medium is a wild, unpredictable place, filled with high-energy particles and magnetic fields we barely understand. Could it have picked up a signal, a remnant of some ancient intelligence, or even a deliberate transmission aimed at us? The decoding process was grueling. The patterns were fragmented like pieces of a shattered mosaic. Each fragment had to be analyzed, cross-referenced, and tested against every known source of interference. The team ruled out solar flares, cosmic rays, and even potential hacking. Though who could hack a spacecraft 15 billion miles away? They consulted experts in artificial intelligence who used machine learning to sift through the data, searching for meaning. Slowly, a picture emerged. The code, if it was a code, seemed to describe something fundamental, something about the building blocks of life itself. There were sequences that mirrored the structure of amino acids, the molecules that form proteins, the foundation of all known biology. This was no coincidence. The patterns were too precise, too deliberate. It was as if the signal was pointing to life, not just life as we know it, but life as it might exist elsewhere, in forms we can't yet imagine. The emotional weight of this discovery cannot be overstated. Imagine the scientists hunched over their computers, realizing they might be holding the first evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence. The fear, the excitement, the overwhelming responsibility, it's the kind of moment that defines a career, a life, a civilization. They knew the world would demand answers, but they also knew the dangers of jumping to conclusions. History is littered with false positives, from misinterpreted radio signals to over-eager claims of alien contact. They had to be sure, so they dug deeper, running simulations, consulting with colleagues across the globe. The amino acid connection was the most compelling clue. Amino acids are universal, found in meteorites, comets, and the lab experiments that mimic the early Earth. If an intelligence wanted to send a message that any life form could understand, amino acids would be a perfect choice, a cosmic Rosetta Stone. But why would such a message be hidden in a corrupted signal? This question haunted the team. One theory was that the spacecraft's systems, strained by decades of radiation, had inadvertently scrambled the message, mixing it with its own data. Another more chilling possibility was that the message was meant to be hidden, detectable only by those with the technology and persistence to find it. This raised unsettling questions. Was the signal a beacon, a warning, or something else entirely? The spacecraft's golden record was designed to be found, a bold declaration of humanity's existence. But this felt different, covert, almost secretive, as if the sender didn't want just anyone to notice. The team began to explore the spacecraft's trajectory, mapping its path through interstellar space. Had it passed through a region with unusual activity, a pulsar, a nebula, or something undocumented? The data offered no clear answers, but the questions kept multiplying. As the decoding progressed, the patterns grew clearer. The signal wasn't static. It had a rhythm, a cadence that suggested motion or change. Some likened it to a cellular automaton, a mathematical model where simple rules create complex behaviors, like the growth of life itself. This was no accident. The signal seemed to mimic the processes of evolution, of systems adapting and transforming. It was beautiful, almost poetic, but it was also unnerving. What kind of mind creates a message that evolves? And why send it to a 46-year-old spacecraft drifting in the void? The team began to wonder if the signal was meant for the spacecraft at all. Perhaps it was a broadcast, a cosmic radio wave that the spacecraft's antenna had caught by chance. Or perhaps the spacecraft itself was the target, its golden record a calling card that had finally been answered. The public's reaction, when news of the discovery leaked, was electric. Social media exploded with speculation, from breathless claims of alien contact to skeptical dismissals of the whole affair. The hashtag #Voyager signal trended worldwide, with millions sharing theories, memes, and heartfelt posts about what it means to reach out to the stars. For some, it was proof we're not alone, a moment of unity in a fractured world. For others, it was terrifying, a reminder of how small we are in the grand scheme of things. The emotional pull was undeniable. People looked to the night sky with renewed wonder, imagining what might be out there, waiting to be found. Parents told their children about the spacecraft, a relic of a hopeful era, now carrying a message that could redefine our future. The story tapped into something primal, our need to connect, to know, to believe there's more to the universe than just us. Yet, the scientific community remained cautious. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and the team was acutely aware of this. They published preliminary findings, inviting scrutiny from peers. The patterns were real, the amino acid connection undeniable. But the leap to alien message was fraught with peril. Alternative explanations were explored. Could the signal be a natural phenomenon, like a pulsar's rhythmic pulse, or a magnetar's burst? Could the spacecraft's own systems have created the patterns, a kind of digital hallucination from its failing circuits? These were valid concerns, but none fully explained the data. The signal's complexity, its resemblance to biological structures, set it apart. It was as if the universe itself was speaking, and the spacecraft was its reluctant translator. The emotional toll on the team was immense. They worked in secrecy at first, knowing the world would hang on their every word. Sleep was a luxury, replaced by endless coffee and debates over data points. Some felt the weight of history, knowing their names might be tied to one of humanity's greatest discoveries. Others feared the backlash, the inevitable accusations of fraud or delusion. But they pressed on, driven by a shared passion for truth. The spacecraft, their silent partner, became a source of inspiration. It had endured decades of hardship, defying every expectation, and now it was asking them to do the same. They owed it to the mission, to the dreamers who launched it, to keep going. By early 2025, the decoding reached a new phase. The signal's patterns were mapped into a visual form, a dynamic image of shifting shapes, like cells dividing or stars forming. It was mesmerizing, a window into something profound. The amino acid sequences were the key, but they were only part of the story. The signal seemed to describe a process, a recipe for life that went beyond our chemistry. It hinted at possibilities, life based on silicon or plasma, or forms we can't even name. This wasn't just a message, it was a challenge, a call to expand our understanding of what life can be. The team began to see it as a gift, a piece of cosmic wisdom meant to push us forward. But gifts come with responsibility. How do you share something this monumental without sparking panic or disbelief? The world watched as updates trickled out. News outlets ran breathless headlines. Alien message decoded. Voyager's secret revealed. The public's imagination ran wild, fueled by decades of science fiction and real-world searches for extraterrestrial intelligence. Some saw it as a spiritual awakening, proof of a higher power guiding the universe. Others feared it was a prelude to invasion, a signal we weren't meant to hear. Governments quietly convened task forces, preparing for scenarios no one had seriously considered. The team, caught in the eye of this storm, stayed focused. They knew the truth was more nuanced, more complex than the headlines suggested. The signal wasn't a greeting or a threat, it was a puzzle, one we were only beginning to solve. The spacecraft itself, oblivious to the frenzy, continued its journey. Its instruments, those still active, kept collecting data, sending back faint whispers of the interstellar medium. Each transmission was now scrutinized, not just for science, but for signs of the signal evolving. Was it a one-time event, or was the spacecraft still receiving, still translating? The team monitored every byte, hoping for clarity. The golden record, with its songs and greetings, took on new meaning. Had it been the key, a beacon that drew the signal to us, or was it a coincidence, a random encounter in the vastness of space? The questions were endless, but they only deepened the mission's legacy. This wasn't just about one spacecraft anymore. It was about humanity's place in the cosmos. The emotional resonance of this story lies in its contradictions. It's a tale of triumph and uncertainty, of reaching out and finding something we don't fully understand. It's about a machine, cold and mechanical, carrying the hopes of a species across the stars. It's about scientists, ordinary people with extraordinary resolve, wrestling with a mystery that could redefine everything. Above all, it's about us, our curiosity, our fears, our relentless need to know. The signal, whatever it is, has changed us. It's a reminder that the universe is vast, strange, and full of wonders we've yet to grasp. Whether it's an alien message, a natural phenomenon, or something else entirely, it's a call to keep exploring, to keep listening, to never stop asking what lies beyond. As we speak, the spacecraft drifts farther, its signal growing fainter. Its power will run out one day, perhaps in a few years, and it will fall silent, a monument to human ambition floating in the void. But the message it carried, the mystery it unveiled, will live on. Scientists are still decoding, still searching for meaning. The patterns may yield more secrets, or they may remain an enigma, a cosmic riddle for future generations. What matters is that we heard it. We found something, or it found us. And in that moment, we were no longer just a speck in the universe. We were part of something larger, something that stretches across time and space, connecting us to the unknown. So, look up tonight, find a star, any star, and think of that spacecraft carrying our dreams, our questions, our story. Think of the signal, a whisper from the edge, challenging us to listen. This is not the end of the journey, but a beginning. The universe is speaking. Are we ready to answer